Diving into the sources on this really unprecedented event out at the edge of our solar system. The focus is an interstellar visitor. It's designated 3I loss.
And it is genuinely challenging material. I mean, the core claim we're unpacking here is not really about a discovery. It's more like a violation.
Violation, yeah.
Sources all argue that 3I loss executed a maneuver that just fundamentally defied known physics. It warps space and time, and this was a, quote, quantified, verified phenomenon.
So if we trust the data.
If we trust the data from, the world's most advanced observatories, then we're looking at something that could make centuries of our understanding of gravity, obsolete.
That's the premise, isn't it? A fundamental rewrite. So let's start with the object itself. 3I loss, that designation, 3I, that's important, right?
Very. It means it's only the third confirmed interstellar object, the third visitor we've ever seen from outside the sun's influence.
And how was it first spotted?
It was first logged by the Subaru telescope. They saw it as a faint, fast-moving aberration. The description they used was a faint emerald shimmer.
Emerald shimmer.
Yeah, just gliding across the black. And at first, it's just cautious interest. It wasn't a comet. It was too dim, no tail. It was just threading the needle between Jupiter and Saturn. It seemed for a moment completely mundane.
But only for a moment. The central mystery and the thing we really have to tackle is the scale mismatch. The sources say 3I Tellus is smaller than a mountain, maybe a kilometer or two across at most.
Exactly. And yet this tiny object, cosmically speaking, it managed to show gravitational effects we only expect from, like, a star or a black hole.
So the mission for us today is to figure out what changed. What was the data point that turned this little rock into a physics-shattering event?
Let's start with the initial shock, what the sources are calling the impossible deceleration.
Right. The first impossible thing happened way out in the void, far from any planet. 3I slowed down.
Just on its own.
Against the vacuum of space, it decelerated. It wasn't pulled by anything. It wasn't captured in gravity. Well, it just reduced its speed against nothing.
Which our equations just can't handle.
They failed.
Yeah.
Completely. No propellant, no external force. The math just produced an impossible result.
And the consequence of that wasn't just, a change in speed. The sources describe it as a cosmic tremor.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. They said the universe itself appeared to inhale.
Yeah.
That space itself rippled.
So how does that happen? How does a simple deceleration suddenly become this huge gravitational distortion?
Well, it suggests the deceleration wasn't a break. It was a geometric manipulation.
Okay.
When it slowed down, our detectors picked up this intense, really brief gravitational distortion. A localized event they called flawless and transient. It's as if the object momentarily boosted its own effective mass. And this isn't just one reading. We have other observatories backing this up. Let's talk about the ESA's Gaia Observatory.
Gaia's data was probably the most compelling early proof. It confirmed a visible lensing of starlight right around 3I Alice.
And just to remind everyone, gravitational lensing is when light bends around a massive object.
Right. And the amount of bending is directly tied to the object's mass.
Mass equals curvature. It's a fundamental law.
It is. And for an object the size of 3I Alice to cause any measurable lensing, I mean, it would have to be billions of times heavier than it is. It's like a pebble causing a magnitude 9 earthquake.
So what did Gaia conclude?
That the light was being bent, but, quote, not by mass, but by something else.
So Gaia told us the physics were broken. What did the James Webb Space Telescope add to this growing horror show?
JWST saw something even more subtle. It recorded what it called microscopic fractures in the background starlight. Yeah, like tiny persistent cracks in glass. And they weren't random. They tracked perfectly with the object, implying it was constantly manipulating the geometry of space around it.
Okay, let's just pause on that.
Sure.
This little object was deflecting photons, bending light on a scale that should require the energy of a star. The violation is absolute.
It's a complete, unambiguous violation of the mass curvature relationship, and that forces us out of normal celestial mechanics and into territory that used to be pure theory.
Which brings us to the official reaction, or lack of one. The sources all point to this statement from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL.
Yeah, it was brief. clinical.
And probably the most damning admission of ignorance we've seen in years.
They just said the event does not conform to standard gravitational models.
Which is code for?
It's code for we have absolutely no concept of what just occurred. I mean, they tried everything. Instrument error, stray gravitational waves, exotic matter. Nothing worked. The data was too clean, too localized to the object itself.
So when all the rational explanations are off the table, that's when you have to confront the big one, the warp drive.
That's the audacious idea, the only one left standing. That 3i isn't just traveling through space.
It's manipulating the space itself.
It's riding it.
So what's the difference there? We all hear warp drive in science fiction, but how is folding space different from just going really, really fast?
Okay, think of the universe like a piece of paper. To get from point A to point B, you can travel across the paper. That's a rocket.
Right.
A warp drive doesn't travel. It folds the paper. It brings point A and point B together. It contracts the space in front and expands it behind.
So it's riding that wave of distorted space-time, like a cosmic surfer.
Exactly like a surfer.
And the second that idea got any real data to back it up, the space agencies just shut down secrecy.
Yeah, and you have to compare it to Oumuamua back in 2017. That was weird, you know? A cigar-shaped rock that accelerated.
But it didn't break gravity. It just hinted at some kind of engine we didn't get.
Precisely. This was different.
This time, the universe itself changed shape.
Changed shape. And the response was immediate. Communications between NASA, ESA, JXA, all of it was suddenly encrypted, compartmentalized. This wasn't about controlling a story. It was about containing panic, because the data pointed to a mastery of physics we can only dream of.
So let's follow the object after that warp event. It didn't just drift, did it?
No, it moved with what they called surgical precision. It was following an algorithm, not an orbit.
And that led to the next phase, the blackout phase.
That's right. The emerald shimmer, whatever was causing it, just went out. Optical sensors lost it completely. It went dark.
But not to everything. Radar still had a lock. Why is that so important?
Because it means it didn't leave. It just cloaked itself. It entered a state of gravitational invisibility. Your eyes see nothing, but the radar echo betrays a silent, motionless presence.
And while it was hidden, the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics found the next big violation.
Time dilation.
Time itself started behaving weirdly around it.
Yeah, time was slowing down, but only locally. The radio waves they bounced off it came back microseconds late.
Microseconds doesn't sound like a lot.
It's not, but it's enough to shatter the math. Because the delay was consistent, predictable. It wasn't noise.
Okay, so help me with the scale of this violation. I mean, we know from Einstein that massive objects like stars or black holes cause time dilation.
Correct. You need immense gravity or immense velocity. For an object smaller than a mountain to cause a measurable delay, a differential our best equipment can track.
The gravity around would have to be.
Like a small planet's worth. The curvature it was generating was totally out of proportion to its physical mass.
Which implies it's not natural. It's deliberate, manufactured.
And that is the terrifying leap. The curvature isn't a byproduct of its existence. It's an active, engineered mechanism, which leads to the fear all the physicists had.
What happens if it bends reality too far?
Could it tear the fabric of space? Is there a catastrophic limit?
I can't imagine the conversations in those labs. There's that one quote from the MIT physicist.
Oh, yeah. If this isn't a natural phenomenon, then there is something out there that understands the universe infinitely better than we do.
And that shifts everything. You're not just studying an anomaly anymore. You're studying intent.
But the intent wasn't chaotic. It had a signature, a pattern in the gravitational distortion, a conscious rhythm repeating every 31 seconds.
Like a heartbeat. The sources call it the respiration of something ancient.
Respiration, programming, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It forces you to think that maybe intelligence doesn't communicate with radio waves. Maybe it speaks through the laws of physics itself.
So 3i Atlas could be an artifact, a probe, or a seed cast, as one source put it, a demonstration of pure geometric mastery.
It's not about fighting gravity. It's about conducting it, like an orchestra. And its final movements really reinforce that idea.
It decelerated again.
With impossible precision. It was adjusting its velocity relative to the sun's gravity well, not fighting the pole, but using it. Perfect balance.
The surfer on the wave.
Exactly. We build rockets to resist the universe. This thing showed us the power of resonance.
And then came the most stunning piece of data when JPL started looking at the patterns in its trail.
Yeah, they overlaid the gravitational distortions against these old gravitational maps of the solar system, and it wasn't random. Not at all.
What did it match?
It's the beautiful final piece of the puzzle. The pattern matched the harmonic ratios of planetary orbits.
You're kidding.
It was humming in resonance with our entire solar system, like a perfectly played note. The universe wasn't shouting at us, it was singing.
And now, it's just drifting away, out past Jupiter, toward the Kuiper Belt.
Leaving behind a trail, not of light, but of geometry. A map laid across the fabric of space itself.
And that map, that's the real treasure, isn't it? It's proof.
Mm-hmm.
Proof that the warp drive concept, sculpting space-time, inducing time dilations, it's all possible. 3 ITLs is the physical evidence.
It is.
So what does this mean for us? I mean, this is proof of aliens, not definitively, but it's proof of possibility. It kind of unites the scientists and the dreamers under the same sky again.
It does. It shows us that the cosmos isn't static. It's alive. It's dynamic. And it speaks in motion and gravity.
And if this thing can bend time and fold existence so precisely,
then its presence isn't just an anomaly. It's a promise. A promise that maybe one day we could follow that geometrical trail.
So the knowledge itself is an invitation.
Exactly. What if we're not witnessing an arrival that's meant to conquer us, but an awakening, an invitation to stop trying to conquer the stars and maybe start dancing with them? That tiny object suggests mastery of the universe isn't about power. It's about understanding its rhythm. And that trail, well, it's just waiting for the next curious mind to trace its path.